Welcome to the GRE Test Prep by TrboTest, and we are on the last section of the verbal reasoning, the analytical writing section, and it's content review. And as you already know, I am your instructor, Professor Konstantine, and because we have quite a bit of material to cover, let's dive right in. Okay, we are on the analytical writing section. And as you know, there is only one essay now, and it is the index. Okay, analytical writing. So let's go ahead and look. Analytical writing, the overview, the key methods and strategies, the issue essay. The issue essay we broke down in the last video is analysis of the issue task, the understanding your audience, the forms and structure. We covered some samples. We looked at the scoring system, and we ended with the self-paced, self-practice questions for you to work on. Now we're going to move into the content review part. All right. The content review deals with the writing foundations, the writing style, the grammar, the mechanics, and of course, the writing style exercises. So again, we are focused on content review. For the writing foundation, it's a simple overview. Keep in mind that the focus of the GRE writing sample is on not only how well you can write, but also how you process things and formulate them in an articulate way so that people can understand what you're trying to say. All right. So remember, it's only a 30-minute long essay, so you don't have a lot of time. We're only dealing with the issue essay. There's no longer the argument essay. So it's pretty focused. The information is just a general concept, and they give you the instructions. If you watched the last video, you saw all the different types of instructions you can see for this section. So it's not overly complicated. If you know how to write an essay, you should do well. All right. But the schools want to see this basically to evaluate your ability to plan and compose a logical, well-reasoned thought process from start to finish. Can you make it flow? Other than that, it's not used as part of your grade, as you already know. It comes with a 0 to 6 score. All right. The writing style. For the writing style, we need to look at some simple areas. Conciseness. Remember, if you can say it with fewer words, do so. Omit words, phrases, and sentences that don't add to your argument or don't support your position. Make every word count. All right. Avoid redundant words. Don't get into phrases such that you refer back, or a serious crisis, or a general consensus. Avoid these type of terms because they add stuff to the sentence that doesn't need to be there. Make sure that your structure flows. We've already covered the steps that have to be put into the passage and how your essay needs to be structured. But remember, it needs to be a continuous transaction. So there's a transition between paragraph 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Everything flows to a conclusion. Writing style. Remember, this is formal. This is not writing for, your comic book or, your diary. This is a formal document, so you want to make sure that you follow certain rules. All right. Make sure it's formal and forceful. Don't use slang or text message abbreviations, and certainly don't use the ampersand sign in place of the word and. Type the full word and. Okay. Remember, it's a formal assignment, treat it as such. Avoid weak sentence openings like there is or there are. Stay away from them. Make it count. Okay. Avoid passive voices. I finished my essay. Obviously is stronger and more concise than saying the essay was finished by me. Right. Avoid cliches. Don't use overused terms and phrases. Remember, the essay needs to be memorable. You want the reader to finish reading your essay, the grader, and say, you know what? Oh, that was good. Don't get into the cliches and the overused terms. Use precise wording and avoid generalizations, such as many people and abstracts. Make your meaning clear. Right? Avoid referring to your own opinions. You may be an expert in the field. You might be the foremost expert in the field, but on the essay, it's not important what you believe or what you think. It's only important the evidence you bring. So rephrase it, reform the sentence structure. Don't use I think, I feel, I believe. Make it according to a study by. Then it's believable, then it's factual. That belongs in your essay. Okay. Also avoid retelling personal anecdotes or sharing your own philosophy. Okay. Vary sentence length and style. Grammar. When we think of grammar on the GRE exam, it's how you control your English language that's important. Okay, writing that is grammatical, concise, direct, or persuasive displays that you have a superior concept and grasp to the conventions of standard written English. It's not important that you use big words or profound thought process. That's not going to help you. Matter of fact, often takes away points from you. What you want to do is make sure it's standard written English and that you have a grasp of it, that you know how to make a sentence flow, right? If your writing style is not clear, remember your idea will not come across. And you might be the most brilliant person in the world. You might have brilliant ideas, but if no one understands that because you don't write clear, it won't do you any good. Okay. Remember, good GRE English is not only grammatically clear, it's also concise. And by using basic principles, you'll be able to express your ideas clearly and effectively. All right. So if you're not confident in your mastery of grammar, it's time to brush up on it now. The mechanics of the essay. Mechanics are more technical in nature than grammatical issues. They're established punctuations, capitalization, pronouns, and so on. So the minor grammar errors, no big deal. They don't count against you. They're not going to hurt your score. You spell a word wrong, it's not going to be crucial to you. If it's phonetically spelled correct, the computer probably won't even recognize there's a spelling error. Right? You know, the mistake that a lot of students make is they believe that they'll lose points for a few mechanical missteps, such as misspellings or commas or spelling errors. All right. It doesn't hurt you. They won't take points off for that. You just want to make sure that it flows, that your idea is conveyed, that it's clean. All right. They're not looking for a perfect English paper. They're looking for an expression of a concept that they can understand. All right. This is a first draft document. They understand that there's going to be typos, there's going to be errors, but does it convey the thought? Can they follow what you're trying to say? Does it paint a picture for them? That's what you're concerned about. Okay, the writing style exercises. Okay, let's look at those. We have 10 of them. All right, the first one is to eliminate wordy phrases. This is very important. Don't use more words than you absolutely need to. All right, say it with as few words as possible. Okay, for wordy phrases, number one, an essential element of our consideration of the problem was finding the means to identify the more dubious aspects of the plan. A lot of words there, a lot of confusing words because your brain gets confused in where this is going. A better way to write this is to get rid of all those extra words and just simply write it. Finding the plan's weakness was essential to evaluating it. We're saying the exact same thing, but the difference is this one's clean, it's concise, it's easy to understand. Number two, foremost in their thinking was the capacity of the vehicle to traverse various kinds of terrain. Wow, let's rewrite that. Their main interest was the vehicle's cross-country capability. Clean, concise, and paints a perfect picture. Number three, Anthony engaged a professional interior decorator to undertake the refurbishment of his apartment. Think for a minute. I'm going to pause just for a minute. Just how would you rewrite that? What would you do to make it clean? It's got to convey the same idea, but we can get rid of all the extra words. If you said Anthony hired a professional interior decorator to redecorate his apartment, perfect. Nice, clean, concise. Redundancy. Remember, if two words say the same thing, you don't need both of them. Right? At this point in time, the scout experienced a serious setback. Okay? Rewrite it. Get rid of the redundancy. The scout experienced a setback. This is not necessary. It's a waste of words and it's a waste of space. Number two, none of her fellow classmates were at the party. Right? Obviously, we don't need fellow and classmates. They mean the same thing. So none of her classmates were at the party. Number three, the leader had a special reputation for being calm in a crisis situation. How would you rewrite it? If you said the leader was known to be calm in a crisis, perfect. Okay? Avoiding excessive qualifications. Qualifications are words that qualify another word. We don't need them. Let's keep it clean. Number one, in a fairly rare moment of frustration, Tony pretty much lost her temper. Okay, that perhaps is how you speak, but that's certainly not how you should write. So let's go ahead and shorten it. In a rare moment of frustration, Tony lost her temper. Boom, cut and dry, right to the point. Lee's actions at Gettysburg seem relatively uncharacteristic for someone whose qualities as a commander were usually sound for the most part. Rewrite. Lee's actions at Gettysburg were uncharacteristic of a generally sound commander. Number three, I have to say that as an employer, Helen showed a certain amount of boldness in providing what most would regard as a generous benefit to her workers. A lot of words there that are wasted. Helen showed boldness by providing generous benefits to her workers. See how that it's concise, it's clean, it comes right to the point. It says the same thing without wasting all the words and the time. It also lessens the chance for confusion because it eliminates all those extra words. Remove unnecessary sentences. All right. Number one, the city's transportation system is a model for urban infrastructure elsewhere. Our bus and light rail lines are second to none. The city's transportation system with buses and light rail lines that are second to none is a model for the other cities. It says the same thing. It uses almost the same amount of words, but it restructures this so we don't have two sentences. We only have one. It's clean, it's understandable. Where would this company be without the vision of someone like Carlo? Our success as a company owes everything to his belief in the future. The success of the company owes everything to Carlo's belief in the future. Nice, clean, straightforward. Number three, the builders of medieval cathedrals were not primitive laborers who had little ideas of what they were doing. They were often highly skilled masons, carpenters, and workers in stained glass who were guided by a detailed plan drawn up by a master builder. Take a moment, look at that. How can we get rid of that extra sentence? The builders of medieval cathedrals were not primitive laborers, but often highly skilled masons, carpenters, and workers in stained glass, guided by a detailed plan drawn up by a master builder. Avoid needless self-reference. Remember, it's not about you. I am of the opinion that we can design cars that are much more fuel efficient. Right? Great, but we don't really care what your position is here because we're writing to convince somebody of something. We can design cars that are much more fuel efficient. You've said the same thing, but you've eliminated the I am or the personal opinion and made it a statement of fact. From my point of view, you could increase your pottery production simply by using a different glaze. You could increase your pottery production simply by using a different glaze. Opinion, statement of fact. Both say the same thing. One says it forcefully, one leaves room for questioning. I feel it would be a mistake to take part in such a demonstration without a clear sense of purpose. All right, here, open for debate. This is your opinion. Now, let's rewrite it as a fact, a statement of fact. It would be a mistake to take part in such a demonstration without a clear sense of purpose. Include strong openings. There is every possibility the police have found your lost dog. There is every possibility. Not very strong. The police have quite possibly found your lost dog. Number two, it is to be hoped that officials can resolve this crisis before it gets out of hand. Hopefully, officials can resolve this crisis before it gets out of hand. Nice. There is a proverb that says, half a loaf is better than none. Right? What about just half a loaf is better than none, as the proverb says? Rewording cliches. We don't want cliches. The man sleeping on the bench looks a bit over the hill. Over the hill, of course, is a cliche. So the man sleeping on the bench looks old. She always seems to me to have ice water in her veins. She always seems unemotional to me. With this win, the team looks like it might finally be on a roll. With this win, the team looks like it might finally be gaining momentum. Okay. Obviously, we want to also avoid jargon. The consultant said that if a company is going to downsize, it should go for the low-hanging fruit first. The consultant said if the company is going to lay off workers, it should go for the easy targets first. Let's connect ear to ear on this one. Let's discuss the details of this on the phone. And three, just give me a ballpark figure so I can consider the offer. Rewording it to just give me the cost estimate so I can consider the offer. All right, that brings us to the conclusion. The next video will be the actual conclusion to this series. And as always, connect at TrboTest.com.